Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Las Vegas, the Orange dropped their third consecutive blowout defeat at the hands of number 15, Iowa State. And we're here to unpack and talk about it all. Thanks so much for joining us here on Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse. Giovanni Heater with you for the next hour or so, unpacking Syracuse basketball's really unfortunate trip out to Las Vegas that has this cataclysmic failure of a game at the end to cap it all off. You start at the highest of highs out in Las Vegas, going to overtime with the number 3 team in the country, the Houston Cougars, a game in which you felt like you really beat yourself and should have won. Came down to 17 missed free throws, 21 second chance points, 17 offensive rebounds, and you left that game thinking, man, this is a team. This is a team that can play with the best, because Houston has some of the best odds, depending on what market you're looking at, to win the national championship. And there's not a single platform that they're not at least top 3, top 5. Many platforms have them as the best odds to win the national championship. So you have a very valiant effort there. And I understand that you can't have these wins without the win, right? There's no moral victories. I get that. But the way they played, the physicality they brought, the effort they brought without their leading scorer in Donnie Freeman, there was a lot of positive to take away from that. You go into yesterday, Kansas Jayhawks, big opportunity, sort of a short turnaround, right? You have to play at 3:30 after playing the 6 p.m. game the night before, so you're playing 2 games in less than 24 hours, and the 3 ball wasn't falling. That was the big problem for Syracuse last night, right? Something like 7 of 30 from beyond the arc a night ago, and you end up losing by double digits to Kansas. So that was a head scratcher. And you thought, man, this doesn't look like the same team that you had seen the night before against Houston. And the luck of the draw gives you another opportunity at a big boy quad 1 type of a game. And sure, Syracuse fans, I think, almost rolled their eyes at the fact that they were playing Iowa State because it felt like it was an inevitable L. But at the same time, this is exactly what you wanted. You wanted a chance to go play a good team and make a name for yourself and help your own metrics if you could find a way to win it, because that was the conversation coming into this whole thing. Syracuse has to win these games if they want to be an NCAA tournament team, or at least play really well in them, which they did on Monday night against Houston. If you're Iowa State, you were looking at this draw, which came out around midnight last night. I was already asleep. You're looking at Iowa State and you see this draw and they're thinking, wait, we won 2 games out here in Vegas and our reward is to get a quad 3 opponent in Syracuse? I mean, that's what Syracuse is stacking up to be right now. I hope that's not the case, but the last 2 days did not look like Monday night. So if you're Syracuse, this was actually best case scenario as far as who you got to play, because it was another opportunity to prove yourself, to help the metrics, to win a big game. Here we go. Phone lines are open. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. We're going to waste no time and get right to them. We got Pat in Syracuse ready to join us here. Pat, give it to me. I've heard everything about what you always have to say about the Cuse, and I'm ready for it, my friend.
Yeah, well, it'll be easy today because I'm exhausted. I mean, it's just an exhausting situation for three reasons. One, when you listen to Coach in the post-game press conferences, there's not a lot of substance to what he's saying. All he says is, level 5. Well, we were a level 0 in the second half. I mean, I understand that Iowa State was doing everything right, but we had everything to do with that. Our terrible offense, which is the whole premise to my call, led to easy baskets, which led to a big lead, which led to an average to above average defense looking like trash. And Autry should be he should be embarrassed that he said this is the best defense in the country, because we made that team look like the '87 Boston Celtics. That was ridiculous. It's tough because let's say you lose by 8 or even 18. You know what? You ran out of gas, blah, blah, blah. But I was watching the bench in the second half. And you know what? You should never coach and play the scoreboard. And that's what they were doing. And Iowa State was, it's easy to score when you're up 25, but it's also easy to come back when you're down 30 to cut it to 20, and that didn't happen. I think our depth is actually hurting us because of the coaching and the substitutions and the method to his madness. It's awful. It's really bad. It's really unfortunate. I think this team has talent. I also think at the end of the day, what a coach gets paid a lot of money to do isn't easy. Okay. And that's to find the right pieces, make the right changes, and address the situation. And, it's just, we've had so many excuses, and then now we're to the point where, I think Starling and Red are great guys. They are. It's hard to knock them, but this is big boy college basketball, and, JJ is the role he's supposed to have, he can't satisfy. And the role Red has, he can't satisfy. They just can't do it. I think your 2 through 12 are fine. Freeman's not there. Anthony is young. White is young. And they need guys to be what they're supposed to be. And Freeman's not there. And I don't know if he's the guy mentally. And I don't think he's got the basketball IQ for all his talent. And then I think JJ, he's basically a shooting guard that just likes to drive. Now he did hit a couple threes, but at the end of the day, the defense was atrocious, and it leads to my final point, and that is we don't have the offensive schemes to make a defense work. It's just, Anthony was saying it all game long, and we pretty much hear it no matter who's on the broadcast. And then your boy Paulie has said for 5 years on the air that nobody runs sets, and Syracuse has 5 sets, and that's enough, and blah, blah. No, those are excuses, okay? You go back to the roots of Syracuse basketball, it's always been that way, but Boeheim used to get away with it because we had elite talent like Johnny Flynn and things like that, where that's what you wanted him to run. We don't have that. We don't have that. We need to run intricate sets. We don't even have it in our repertoire. And last thing is, if we've been practicing the zone all year, don't you think today might have been the day? Because they had 12 hours to prepare. Run the zone. It can't be any worse than what we saw for the man, and it would have been a change of pace. So no adjustments. Don't even want to listen to the post game for Red, because this level 5 is a laughing stock. What do you think, Gio?
Yeah, Pat. No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you ringing in, and I'm not going to disagree with a single point that you said, because I think you're absolutely right.
The trolls will.
No.
Don't worry, because the trolls will.
Well, I'm going to agree with what you said. And hear me out here, Pat. I think you're going to like this. I think you're going to like this. This is what startles me. This is what startles me with everything Pat just had to say. Pat used to call in angry, upset, ticked off. All right? Now he's defeated and exhausted. Those are the words he used. This is the problem with Syracuse basketball and this fan base. Now it's become such a trend of year after year, of disappointment after disappointment, of being blown out against the top 25 team by 40 points on national television. The anger is gone, and it's turned into apathy. And that's a problem. That's a problem. What do you think, Pat?
Yep. Yeah, I'll just say this. You know what? There were good teams in this tournament that had bad halves, and they could afford it. Syracuse fan base and the young personnel and, pretty much a whole new team, they can't afford it. So the last thing I'll say is, how do you respond? Because they obviously have talent, and, who knows with this Donnie thing, everything's spoken in code, so who the heck knows? But at the end of the day, turkey's coming, so let's just get some turkey and get ready for the snow. I'll be putting my toes in the sand in St. Pete. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Pat. Enjoy the holiday with your family. Appreciate you chiming in. That was my biggest takeaway from everything Pat had to say, and he's right? You can go X's and O's, talk about the lack of offense. You can talk about how the defense can't do it all, and then they carve up the defense because of how the offense was putting the defense in such poor situations. You could break down, when you want to look at the box score, the fact that Syracuse hit 8 3-pointers in the first half and didn't hit one the entire second half, right? You can break down the fact that they can't hit free throws. Today was much better from the stripe. They went 12 of 19. Whatever you want to talk about, fine. The turnovers were what was the biggest problem to me, particularly in the first half, but 19 turnovers to 9 turnovers on the other side. Throw the box score away. Pat always called in upset, angry. That was the stories I've heard. When you start to have people like that care, start to check out and not care, and talk about, let's have a good Thanksgiving and put our toes in the sand, that's apathy. And you're digging a hole if you're Syracuse basketball, and that's where your fan base starts to go. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. This was a proud program. It still is, but man, things gotta turn around. And it felt like this was the year that was going to happen. Really felt like this is the roster that had the stones to make that happen. And that's just that's not the case right now. 95-64 the final score. 95-64. Iowa State blows Syracuse out of the water in the second half. It was a 1-point game at the break, and I felt pretty good about where Syracuse stood because they were hitting the threes in that first half, and they were doing it while still turning the ball over a ton. And he thought, if you could clean up the turnovers a little bit, get things going, they'd be in a good spot. And that's just about as rough of a second half. It's like you blinked, and they were out of it, and that was just it. That was it. Felt like they quit. It really did. Felt like watching them play Notre Dame in football the other day. Goodness. All right, let's take a break. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. Phone lines are open. Come have a chat with us. Let's break it all down. You're listening to Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse.
Point guard advice.
Oh, what's up, chat? Good heavens.
Syracuse Orange football is back. A 10-win season in Coach Fran Brown's first year brought the energy back to the community. But this isn't the ceiling, it's the foundation. This offseason, elite recruits and transfers have been added to compete and win at the highest level. With a JMA wireless dome as packed and loud, it creates one of the best home field advantages in the country. Get your tickets now at Cuse.com/ticket. Touchdown!
Hey, it's Rick. We're back at Pawn Pro on Erie Boulevard East. Maybe you've got some gold.
Phone's blowing up with people that I haven't heard from in a minute, just to chime in about the game. Good friend from high school says time for Autry to go. Inexcusable performance out there in Vegas. Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't disagree. That's, yeah, we're at the point that it's rough. This is not a kid's medium shirt. You guys crack me up. Let's see. Feel as though we have more motivated there. Cuse lost today by 40 because of Nate George's turnovers. Yeah. Like, I don't know what more Donnie does, too. Like, I think he helps, but, I mean, he's not making up for 30 points. That's for sure. Unfortunately, this hole that's being dug is so deep as far as making the NCAA tournament goes. And it's not that you lost, it's that you lost by 30-something. Call in, guys. Let's talk about it for real. What do we do? What's up? I know, it does.
I don't know what's not showing up. Dro and Clay.
Dro?
Dro. You talk to him. I don't follow it. Dro, yeah.
D-R-O?
Yeah, like
Okay.
how rappers in the 80s refer to marijuana.
Lit.
Dro. It might be short for hydroponic. You never know.
True.
Should we ask him? Guys, should Gio ask Dro if Dro is short for hydroponic? Would that be a good way to start this?
What does that mean?
I want to say it means pot that's grown indoors.
Oh, nice.
I'm not 100% sure. Someone in this chat probably knows more than me. I should know.
Dro in Syracuse?
Clay.
Clay. Dro and Clay. I got it. I typed it. Thanks, King. I know Dro. I don't know Dro. Do I know Dro? John Cuse says I know Dro.
Hi, I'm Zach. And I'm Mike with Charles Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical. We're the nice guys. The nice guys are here to help with all your plumbing needs. Leaky faucet, slow drain, need a new bathroom? How about a backed up sewer?
Dro is called. Love it. Looking forward to talking to him.
An emergency or just an everyday plumbing need? Call Charles Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical. 315.
Wild Hack's gotta go.
6911. In business for 75 years. And remember, we're the nice guys.
The professional sportscaster Stephen Funky and the likable a-hole
What an unbelievable
ESPN
intro.
97.7
That's
and
insane.
100.1.
I've never heard that before.
This is the Burdick Lexus and Burdick BMW postgame show.
Cuse basketball postgame after the Orange go 0-3 out in Las Vegas at the Players Era Festival. Giovanni Heater with you, hanging out on ESPN Syracuse and CuseSportsTalk.com. 95-64. 95-64. That was the final score. If you're just tuning in out in Las Vegas. Game 3 for the Cuse. They saved their worst for last out there in the Sin City. The 15th ranked Iowa State Cyclones absolutely demolished the Orange in half number 2 out in Vegas. This was a 1-point game at the break, and Iowa State took advantage of a plethora of Syracuse turnovers, 19 of them to be exact, paired with the fact that Syracuse didn't hit a three-pointer in the second half, went 0-9 from beyond the arc after a strong start at 8 for 19 in the first half. You mash that together, mixed with the fact that it really felt like Syracuse quit down the stretch, and that writes up the recipe for a 31-point blowout. You can't mess around against teams like this. And especially nowadays in college basketball, every team needs to keep its foot on the accelerator and beat teams by as many points as possible. Particularly in a situation like this where Iowa State wins 2 out there, gets rewarded in their eyes with what looks like a quad 3 game, and they just need to win by as many as possible to help their own metrics. So, can't play around. Syracuse got burned in that second half against Iowa State. Went from the highest to highs on Monday night. Felt like Syracuse was going to beat the third-ranked team in the country. Then it goes to overtime, and foul shooting is what plagued them. 17 missed free throws. And you walked out of that thinking you could play with anybody, and that just is not the case. Phone lines are open. 315-437-7644 is the number to call if you want to chime in. We got our boy Dro out in Clay. Dro, how we doing? Glad to have you on.
Gee, we're doing good. I heard some of the stuff off the air. You do probably know me, but we're not going to discuss on the air. All I'll say to you is this. I loved watching you play lacrosse. You're a great goalie, and you did a great job calling the basketball games in high school your senior year during COVID. You talk to some of your lacrosse friends your senior year, they'll tell you who I am. You'll put the dots together.
Okay.
With that said, a horrible loss today. You can't go out there and lose this game by 30 points. You can't. You can't. Unacceptable. We could have beat Houston. We can't hold our head in that. If you lost this game by 10 points, okay, fine. It was a 1-point game at the half, and you felt that this was a winnable game today out of the 3 we played so far. And then whatever happened in the second half happened, but we're back to square one again now. And we're behind the 8 ball, however you want to put it, but this is, look, the reality is you're going to have to beat Duke, North Carolina, and you have to have a better showing against Tennessee. I thought we were done by losing by 30 points.
Yep.
Here we are again, losing by 30 points to Iowa, who didn't have the point guard today. And granted, we didn't have Danny Freeman either, but you can't. It's been too long. And I grew up in an era where SU basketball was just dominant in the Big East, and we were just spoiled every single year of just being guaranteed to make the tournament. Now, it's not. We're up the radar. We were trending in the right direction after the Houston game. And I was even positive yesterday after the Kansas loss. Okay, you lost by 10, 11, fine. No big deal. But to lose by 30, I felt the team gave up today. Felt they had no heart, lazy passes, no ball movement. And they got a lot of work to figure out here if they want to get back to the tournament in March. And right now, we're trending downwards, not upwards. And this was a disaster of a game today. There's no, and I'm a positive fan.
Yeah.
And everyone who knows me knows I'm positive. I bring a lot of positive energy. I don't like negativity, but there's nothing good today. Nothing good came out of today.
I'm with you.
So, yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's too bad. I feel bad for the community, the fan base. I feel bad for Autry, as a matter of fact, because in reality, he didn't hit the tournament this year. He's done. He's done. So I don't know. I have no other answers after today's game. It was a debacle. I'll just say have a great Thanksgiving, and let's hope that we can do something this season here. Like a long winter.
Dro, appreciate you, my man. Yeah.
Of course.
Take care. That's Dro, everybody. Appreciate Dro. Thank you for the kind words off the top. Been watching some CNS lacrosse, it appears, and really appreciate that. So thank you, Dro. Please call in anytime. We'd love to have you all season long. So thank you. And I know everybody in the chat and Paulie and the guys are very familiar with you. So as everyone knows, I'm still a little new to the Q Sports Talk scene. So appreciate you ringing in. And I'm with you, man. A lot of the fans got to see it in the heyday. And I've always grown up wishing I got to see it in the heyday, but when I was just getting really into it, just old enough to get really into it, is still part of the heyday, right? You're talking those Michael Carter Williams teams where they were, number one in the country at one point. Remember they go on the road and they beat Louisville, those Big East days. They played Georgetown that last year, the Big East semifinal, that last year as members of the Big East. Right, you go to the Final Four that year. That was probably the first year I got super, super into it. Then after that, the Tyler Ennis year where you start 25-0 and all of that. It's been a long time since it's felt like that. And it used to be even better back in the day. So it's been too long. I thought there was going to be a little bit of return to form this year, especially after seeing the way they played against Houston, and now I'm really not quite sure. It really is jarring how quickly things can change overnight. Right? We felt really good on Monday night, and all of a sudden that expectation, that hope falls off of a cliff. We got the phone lines open, 315-437-7644, the number to call. Our man Scooter in Jamesville. Bring Scooter on. Scooter, how are we?
Hey, guys. How you doing? I got friends in Vegas. I was talking to them before the game, and nobody in Vegas knows why Iowa State was playing Syracuse. You're 2-0. Everybody thought, and I think Iowa State. What I got the feeling of talking to them is that they were a little ticked off. They have to get up and play a 10 a.m. game when you're 2-0, and because of this point differential, anybody's 2-0 thinks there's a shot they should be in the championship game, and lo and behold, they're playing the 10 a.m. Wednesday game. So yeah, I have a feeling if Iowa State had a shot to take it to Syracuse, they would. Now, they can't use Freeman as an excuse for the Kansas and the Iowa State because both teams had their star players out too.
Yeah. Yep.
So So Kansas had a guy that's supposed to be number 1 pick, and Iowa State has one of the Big 12, top guards in the Big 12 didn't play. So you can't use that as an excuse for these 2 losses.
Yeah, and that's what makes it that much more jarring, right? And that much more, I guess, upsetting and scary when you look at the trajectory of the rest of the season. And I'm with you, Scooter. I think Iowa State kind of got hosed because they didn't get rewarded for winning 2 games out there. So
exactly,
I'm with you.
The thing is, I don't know if I watched the whole landscape of the basketball because right now the way that you got the transfer portal, all it is names when you start the season because everybody's somewhere. And if you notice the scores of these games, they're in the high 80s and 90s now. It's not even a blink when you see a game 90. Alabama scored 116, I think, last night. Gonzaga scored 100. Look what Michigan scored, 100.
Yeah.
Games are in the high 80s. That's the way the game is played now because I think it's easier to allow teams to go up and down and shoot because you don't have these players in your system for 2 or 3 years to get used to it. And even Houston. I mean, Houston used to be station to station, in-your-face defense. What I saw in the tournament so far, they're more trying to go up and down the court and shoot more threes than I saw last year. And that's the way the game's being played, and that's where Syracuse is going to have to think about it. If you have to go in the game, think in the 80s, and if you don't think so, watch my boys from Gonzaga and Michigan go at it tonight because the first team to 100 might win that game.
Scooter, I got to ask you because I know the lore behind it, right? I know that you're a big Gonzaga guy, but where does that stem from? Where's that stem from? Give me the history.
Yeah, well, we're talking about, let me see now, 1998, 99. So it's 27 years ago. I was looking for a bracket buster, for your office pools.
Okay.
So, it's a West Coast thing, and I see Gonzaga with a funny name, and it looked like they had a bunch of volleyball players. They all were big and thick and could jump.
Yeah.
And there was another talk show hosted way back at that time. And Syracuse was going to have to play, was in the tournament, but they're going to have to play there's going to be a low thing. And I said, you might want to avoid Gonzaga because I think they got a shot to go to at least the Final 8 or Final 4. And he laughed at me. I said, okay. Well, Syracuse ended up losing Oklahoma State in the first round. Gonzaga ends up beating teams like Stanford, which I think is a 1 and 2 seed. End up losing to Connecticut in the Final 8. And Connecticut beat Duke that year. But everybody in the office pool had Duke. I had Gonzaga in the Final 4, and no one likes Connecticut, so no one picked it. So I actually won the office pool because of that. But it's the style of play. I'm a big Boise State fan. If you can win and be entertaining at the same time, that's me, and that's why I'll never be a Virginia fan when they were winning all these games because I'll be asleep at halftime when it's 21-19 or something like that.
Right. They score 50 points in the game. Yeah.
50 points in the game, and congratulations, you won. But, if you can be entertaining and the style of play. Now, this year, it's the best I've seen in 1 through 10 in 3 or 4 years. They got a guy, EK, and they got a guy named Foster who played for Rio Grande a couple of years ago. Remember Rio Grande in the tournament? So we'll see what happens. But that's the story behind that, where it's been 25, 26 years, and they've been in a tournament every year. And last year was the first year they didn't make the Sweet 16 in 10 years. Of course, their second-round opponent was Houston.
Right.
And, Houston goes to the finals, so there you go.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you giving us the backstory there.
Yep. So we'll go. But I tell you, tonight's game, man, that's the way that the basketball is being played now.
Yeah.
The 80s and 90s is not the exception. I think it's the rule.
I'm with you. Have a great Thanksgiving, Scooter.
Thanks, on you too, buddy.
All right. That's our man, Scooter, as always, out in Jamesville. We appreciate him. And I finally got the lore behind why he's such a Gonzaga guy, and it makes sense. It gives you that West Coast team to root for. Some more things to root for Scooter this year, maybe on the Gonzaga side of things than the Syracuse side of things. We hope things can get better. Phone lines are open, 315-437-7644, the number to call. We'll take a break. When we come back, plenty more to unpack. Syracuse falls to Iowa State. They go 0-3 out in Vegas. This is Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse.
This is
I would be thankful if Syracuse got a win. What would you be thankful for? I'm thankful for a lot.
Oh, man.
Really? Most things. Our friendship. Okay. And I'm thankful that everybody gets to hear me on the radio. What an honor.
Cuse Sports Knower says, I am mid-crash out right now. Call in. Crash out on the air. It makes for good radio.
Noon to 2. ESPN Radio 97.7 and 100.1. Find us on the web at espnsyracuse.com. ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1, 1200 and 1440 AM.
Bring it on, near or far, day or night. Burdick BMW has a huge selection of inventory on site with more to come. The BMW X5 SUV is a natural leader in so many ways. Looks, safety, technology, power, and much more. See for yourself and lease an all-new 2026 BMW X5 xDrive 40i at Burdick BMW for $899 per month for 39 months with $63.69 with signing. Cash down includes $45.45 capitalized cost reduction, $899 first month's payment, $925 acquisition fee, and zero security deposit. Not all customers qualify for security deposit waiver, tax, title, license, registration, and dealer fees or additional fees to its signing. MSRP $74,675, 10,000 miles per year included. Excess mileage charged at 25 cents each at end. Lessee responsible for excess wear and tear. For qualified lessees through BMW Financial Services with a minimum credit score of 700. Offer valid through December 1st, 2025. Burdick BMW, your performance and luxury headquarters. Reserve yours today in store at Drivers Village in Cicero or online at burdickbmw.com.
Which values do you look for in an accountant? Trust, experience, someone who understands there's no one-size-fits-all tax solution. Hi, this is Adam Penn, CPA and partner at Grossman St. Moore CPAs. We've been educating ourselves and our clients for over 28 years on how to navigate the ever-changing maze of tax laws. In today's economy, it's important to know how these changes apply to your tax situation. I encourage you to
What do we got? That's it. If we lose to Tennessee, I thought that we were going to be 5 energy on defense. Yeah, give up 60.5. That's going to get old. The whole 5 thing. People are going to start to roll their eyes at that. I think people might start to roll their eyes at Dart a little bit too if it doesn't get a little better. Yeah, there you go. Those things are fun when you're winning, right? But yeah, I could get into that a little bit. Cuse Sports Insider. I don't have a problem with the starting lineup, to be honest with you. Because I don't know where, like, what are you going to change? Sadiq, I don't think, has been great in Vegas. I don't think he had a good trip to Vegas. Yesterday, he did not play well at all, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, you need Donnie in there in place of Sadiq, and then I think with your normal starting lineup, I don't know what I would change there. Like, Kyan can score, but Kyan's performance in Vegas isn't start-worthy. I mean, maybe you start Betsy for scoring, but Kings is your best defender. So it's like, it's tough. All right. Philly's most wanted, like, going for the neck. I thought Sadiq looked like a freshman, particularly in yesterday's game outside of the first 7 minutes. Thought he had a strong first 7 minutes or so. And then I think yesterday he looked like a freshman at times. Thought the shot selection was very poor at times. I thought his defense left a lot to be desired. Does that answer to your satisfaction?
This is the Burdick Lexus and Burdick BMW postgame show.
Cuse basketball postgame rolls on here on Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse. 0-3 skid for the Orange out in Las Vegas at the Players Era Festival. 95-64, the final score in Game 3. Number 15, Iowa State absolutely hands it to Syracuse in the second half. After this game was just separated by a point at the break, the Orange really collapsed down the stretch in the first media timeout of that second half, really. It was over in the blink of an eye, and Syracuse couldn't dig itself back out of the hole, end up losing this game by almost 40 points. 31 points was the final decision, but really it did feel like it was getting close to that 40 territory down the stretch, and an embarrassing performance for Syracuse basketball in what felt like in so many ways a must-win game for the Cuse. Couldn't get it done. Phone lines are open. Feel free to chime in on the chat. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. I got a pretty good question in the chat that I want to kind of take into the next segment here. And it was this. What I like and don't like about the offensive scheme for Syracuse, and also if I would make any adjustments to the starting lineup. And I think that's a good place for conversation, because it does seem to be like that's pieces of the narrative right now surrounding this team. Offensive scheme-wise, it feels like there is not enough ball movement. There's way too much isolation play. With that being said, that's what Autry runs. That's kind of the MO, right? That's kind of what you're going to expect to see. So I do think that you'd like to see more ball movement. You'd like to see more screens. You'd like to see more ways to create shots. With that being said, yesterday I thought against Kansas, Syracuse got a lot of really good shots. They just weren't falling. Remember, Syracuse goes 7-30 or something like that was the number yesterday in the loss to Kansas. And you felt like you would have been a lot more in that game if they could hit a couple more shots. Right? The scheme wasn't really poor yesterday. It was that they weren't hitting the shots they were getting. But again, the isolation piece is what can be bothersome at times, where, you know, it's just kind of clearing the way and you're attacking to the 10, but then you're not even getting to the rim and you're pulling up mid-range, and it just, at times, it feels like there's not a natural flow to it. And they really only run 5 sets, 6 sets. They don't run that much. And so that's where it becomes puzzling with the offensive scheme. And then when you look at the lineup, I don't think there's any room to change anything. I wouldn't change a thing about the starting lineup if Donnie Freeman was in the mix. Because I think with Donnie at the 4, that's a good lineup, right? Nate George at the 1, J.J. Starling at the 2, Kings at the 3, Donnie at the 4, and then William Kyle at the 5. I'm hearing stirrings. Maybe people would like to see Tyler Betsy into the starting lineup. He'd probably have to start in place of Kings. But what I think you're sacrificing there is Kings is supposed to be able to be a shooter for him, right? And he hasn't been. Kings is supposed to be a shooter, and that's not been what he's been able to do. But he's a good defender, probably the best defender on the team. I don't think you're getting that production of defense out of Betsy, but the shooting has been there, right? Betsy yesterday hit 4 threes, hit 4 threes the day before, goes 2 of 10 from beyond the arc in this game. So, I mean, he was trigger happy for sure. Took 10 of them, went 3 of 14 from the floor altogether, still ended up with 10 points in the ball game. So, I guess Betsy, but I don't see it. I think the starting lineup is what it is. I don't think there's a good argument for Cayenne yet, because he's lacking on the defensive side. At times, his shot selection is very, very questionable to me, particularly yesterday and at times today. Now, don't get me wrong, he can score. And shooters got to shoot, but there were times where it just felt like it wasn't the moment. And early in the shot clock, he's taking shots and in the same sentiment, J.J. Starling does not look like J.J. Starling. Not the J.J. Starling you got last year. So I don't know what's going on with J.J. He looks like a different player out there. He looks timid to me. He looks like he's in his head. He really does. So I wouldn't change anything about the starting lineup. Maybe this team just isn't as good as we were hoping. I don't know. I was so on cloud nine. I thought they could play with anybody after watching them play Houston, and this is the polar opposite after watching them play Kansas and especially Iowa State. We got some audio for you. It's Adrian Autry sitting down with Matt Park after the game. So this is from Coach after the game, after Syracuse falls by 31 at the hands of Iowa State. This is brought to you by the Syracuse Sports Network from Learfield. Let's give it a listen.
I thought our guys came out the first half and we fought. I thought the second half got away from us. Energy, level 5 effort. We just didn't have that. The second half, we played against a really good team, and all this will help us moving forward. These experiences this whole week will help us move forward. We'll address some things and continue to work on it. But we came out here with 3 great opportunities. This is the one opportunity that we just didn't meet the expectations that we wanted to meet as far as our level of fight. But we'll get better and move on. Looking forward to it.
All right, there you go. There is Adrian Autry, the head coach of the Orange, after the loss to Iowa State out in Las Vegas. I mean, that level 5 thing is going to get old. I think that's what the fan base is starting to say, right? That level 5 narrative going to get old pretty quick if they don't start to get things going. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about Tennessee, the upcoming opponent, and how the rest of this non-conference stacks up. Because now the pressure is really on for this team. There is no margin for error when it comes to trying to make the NCAA tournament. Pressure's on. Pressure's on for the Cuse already after the 3-game skid out in Vegas. You're listening to Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse.
It's Orange Nation.
I mean, their spirit had to be broken yes.
John in Syracuse up there. Hey, John. I'll make your spirit a little more. I want you to think about
how angry can you possibly be right now? Orange Nation, noon to 2. ESPN Radio 97.7 and 100.1.
See why it's got to be Nye at Nyato.com. That's NYEAUTO.com. Official partner of the Syracuse Orange. Hi, I'm Dan Scherr, General Manager of the Nyato Motor Group in Oneida and Rome. Well, so New York, the leaves are falling, and so are the prices of the Nyato Motor Group. Before you know it, Thanksgiving will be here. We'll all be enjoying a great meal surrounded by loved ones. Happy Thanksgiving. And remember, if you're in the market for a newer pre-owned vehicle, don't let the competition stuff you into a car that you don't want this holiday season. The turkey is the only thing that should be stuffed this Thanksgiving. And I'll tell you what, some of New York, if you're that person who loves the leftovers, have a bunch and a lot. We have a variety of 2024s and 25s to choose from with massive discounts and rebates. And if my team can't make the deal, I promise you, Central New York, I'm back in the deal-making mode, so I will. So come see why it's got to be Nye before you buy. Stop in and see your shops online at Nyato.com. That's NYEAUTO.com. And remember, only the turkey gets stuffed.
Give a message of hope to less fortunate children. Help them experience joy in this holiday season. Drop off or purchase a new unwrapped toy for Toys for Tots at any area like this. Play an active role in one of our nation's most valuable resources, our children.
turn your life upside down. Harding Mazzani can help like only you can. It's one of the biggest injury law firms, big enough to help you from day one. Help with medical bills. Help get your life back on track. Help and
yeah, that's what makes it that much more jarring, right? And that much more,
on one of your days.
I guess, upsetting and scary when you look at the.
1 Wall Street, Albany, New York. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Hey, it's Rick. We're back at Pawn Pro on Erie Boulevard East. Maybe you've got some gold or some silver jewelry that you've just discovered. Maybe belong to a relative. You're not sure what it's worth, and you might want to sell it. Bring it into Pawn Pro. They can actually appraise it for you right on the spot, tell you what you have. If you want to sell it to them, they'll give you top dollar for it. They pay more than just about anywhere else. I'm here with Brian, the owner of Pawn Pro, and there's some really amazing watches that I was looking at a little while ago.
Yes, we have a variety of those, all brought back to as new as condition as possible. And we have high-end, casual.
Jay Wright. problem is, I mean, how old's Jay Wright? He's younger than some of the other guys that have retired. He's 63, so I mean, yeah, I guess he's 20 years younger than Boeheim.
See what you can find at Pawn Pro on Erie Boulevard East. Online at pawnpro.com. Bring it on, near or far, day or night. Burdick BMW has a huge selection of inventory on site with more to come.
Yeah, I don't know what.
X5 SUV is a natural leader in so many ways. Looks, safety, technology, power, and much more. See for yourself and lease an all-new 2026 BMW X5.
I don't know what would be like a splashy, you know, the sexy hire, if you will. There's not a coach on the market like that right now. Jay Wright would be that, but Patino would be that. Patino's older. So it's like, okay, you want a short-term fix for, you bring Patino in 5 years maybe? I don't know. Patino would win. I love Rick Pitino. And he's one of us. Started as assistant for Boeheim.
Syracuse Orange football is back. A 10-win season in Coach Fran Brown's first year brought the energy back to the
I would love Patino. He's getting up there, and I just don't. I mean, he wouldn't be here long. I don't know. I don't think GMAC is a splashy hire.
Follow us on Twitter, ESPN Syracuse, ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1, 1200 AM and 1440 AM. This is the Burdick Lexus and Burdick BMW postgame show.
One final segment here, breaking down Syracuse's trip out to Las Vegas in the Players Era Festival. Giovanni Heater with you on ESPN Syracuse and QSportsTalk.com. 95-64 final score. Number 15, Iowa State obliterates the Orange in game number 3 out in Vegas this week. A disappointing trip for Syracuse after it started on such a high, almost taking down third-ranked Houston, taking that game to overtime, walking away from it feeling as if you should have won it after leaving 17 missed free throws on the floor, 21 second chance points, all of the offensive rebounds. Syracuse doesn't get it done. And then it just went from here to bad to worse after losing to Kansas and then being blown out by 31 against Iowa State. Last chance to get your calls in. Phone lines are open. 315-437-7644 is the number to call. As we look ahead here to Syracuse's upcoming schedule, we mentioned it that this was a gauntlet of 4 games in 8 days. They turn around and on Tuesday in the Dome, December 2nd, they play Tennessee. 7 p.m. tip, ACC SEC Challenge. Folks, Tennessee is legit. And come Monday, Tennessee in all likelihood, in my thoughts, is going to be a top 10 basketball team. This Tennessee team right now is 7-0 on the season. They just beat third-ranked Houston 76-73 last night. They will play Kansas tonight at 7 o'clock on TNT. They beat Rutgers out there in Vegas as well. And then they beat up on Tennessee State, Rice, North Florida, Northern Kentucky, and Mercer before heading out there. You're looking at a top 10 basketball team coming into the Dome. If there's ever a time to flush it and get it together and find a way to play the way they did against Houston, it's now. Because that's what this team is clinging on to as far as NCAA tournament hopes. If you go 0-4 in the stretch, the 4 games in 8 days, if you go 0-4, I don't know. It's a very lofty mountain to climb to get to the NCAA tournament. You probably have to be a top 5 team in the ACC, maybe 6, maybe 6. I do think the ACC is much improved across the board this year, but like NC State just lost to Seton Hall. So NC State's probably not as good as I had thought they were going to be. Louisville and Duke are probably national championship contenders. North Carolina is very good. Virginia looks like they might be good. NC State I thought was going to be good, and they're not. Virginia Tech looks pretty good. There's some teams that are going to be good in the ACC. Miami. What does Miami look like? What does Florida State look like? Clemson. What do you get out of Brad Brownell and Clemson? There are good teams in the league. Is it a 6-deep league, though? I don't know. So we'll see. But Syracuse, again, if they go 0-4 in this stretch, is really going to have their work cut out for them. I think they'll win the rest of the non-conference games. Like, they should beat St. Joseph's, Hofstra, Mercyhurst, Northeastern, Stonehill. And the nice thing about this schedule, like I've said before, is you do kind of ease your way into ACC play. You start with Clemson, not an easy game, but you get them at the Dome. And after that, you do kind of get to skate your way in with the bottom of the conference. Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh's really not good this year. Florida State, Boston College. You're not playing a game that even close to frightens you until January 21st against Virginia Tech, and it's in the Dome. And I know you guys are going to give me some flack about the Virginia Tech thing. Virginia Tech has a lottery pick on its roster playing point guard. He's 6'9". His name is Neoklis Avdalis. And if you have not checked him out, check him out, because he's slated as a lottery pick right now in the mock drafts. So Virginia Tech is not a team you can take lightly. They're undefeated. They have a lottery pick at 6'9" playing point guard that plays a lot like a man named Luka Doncic. So save the flack. That game is one that stands out on the schedule. Then they play Miami. Just mentioned, what do you get out of Miami? They play NC State. Thought NC State was going to be really good. That was a game that scared me. I had written it in as a loss. I don't know. Miami just lost to Seton Hall. So we'll see. Really good coach, though, and Will Wade should have a good roster. So we'll see how things continue to trend there. Notre Dame, that you should win that game, right? It's in the Dome, too. You get Carolina twice, which is unfortunate, but it's better than getting Duke twice or Louisville twice. Like, this is gettable. Things don't get tough till the back half of the ACC schedule, and it really doesn't hit you with like 3 consecutive difficult games at any point. The most you're going to get is 2, because you go Notre Dame, Carolina, Virginia. Okay, 2 road games, Carolina and Virginia. That's tough. Then you got Cal and SMU to kind of ease it, both at the Dome. Then you go Duke and Carolina back-to-back, one at Cameron, one at the Dome. Okay, that's a 2-game stretch that's hard. Then you got Wake in there. Wake's not a gimme, but you got Wake in there. Then you go Louisville, Pittsburgh, and it's over. There's not a tough 3-game stretch in the ACC schedule for this team. It's gettable, especially the way they can kind of slowly hit the runway and take off with the caliber of ACC opponent off the rip. One more time, it's Clemson, Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, Florida State, Boston College, Virginia Tech, Miami, before you have to go play NC State. Like, it's not a gauntlet. They saved all the difficult games for the back end. So you can start to improve as a team as the year goes on and catch your stride in conference play. So it's not over. And it's really not over if they beat Tennessee. But if they don't beat Tennessee, their work is beyond cut out for them as far as getting into the NCAA tournament. And this is a must-tournament team in year 3 under Red Autry. I will leave you with that. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Listen, though, for real, enjoy the weekend, the holiday with all of your families. It's my favorite time of the year, that stretch of Thanksgiving through Christmas. So enjoy it. Watch some sports. It's unfortunate that we can't be more excited about Syracuse sports. Hopefully your NFL teams are doing well. If they're Buffalo Bills fans listening, that's not the case. But Enjoy your families. Appreciate you all. For Jordan, behind the scenes, you're the man. Magic doesn't happen without you. I appreciate you. For everybody else in our crew, I'm Giovanni Heater saying so long, and we will talk to you next time. This is Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Syracuse.
This is Orange Nation.
I would be thankful if Syracuse got a win. What would you be thankful for, Steve?
I'm thankful